Welcome to a special edition of the Darden Admissions Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Twitty, and we are talking application tips today, joined by my admissions colleague, Whitney Kessner. Whitney, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Brett. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. Our topic for today is interviews, topic we all love. It's one of our favorite parts of the application process. So I wanted to ask you, how would you describe the Darden interview?
Sure. Well, just want to underscore it is definitely my favorite part of this process. How much fun that we have this opportunity to spend up to 45 minutes with a candidate and learning more about their backgrounds, their goals, their interests, why they want to be at Darden. And so as we talk about the interviews, you'll likely hear conversational. And so our hope is that it is a dialogue, that this is, yes, a chance for you as a candidate to share your background with us, but we also see it as a chance for you to get to know us and further get to know the Darden community. And so that conversation, that back and forth, I think is something that really makes it something really neat and special.
Yeah, another hallmark of our interviews, in addition to being conversational, is that they are anonymous. So what do we mean by anonymous?
Yeah, anonymous means that as your interviewer, I will not have read your application or reviewed your resume. And that is, we believe, the most fair way to conduct the interview. I'm coming in not knowing anything and really, you know, the onus is on you as well as on me to be an active listener, to hear what you're saying, to respond to that, to ask follow-up questions. And for you as the candidate, you have this blank space and you really can make sure that you are highlighting the things that you feel are most important for me to know. And because I'm not familiar with your background, it is important that I'm kind of understanding those key aspects of your background. It can help to kind of share that in a linear timeline just so I can kind of follow and understand. I think it gives us a sense of the whys behind the decisions that you've made, and really helps us understand your path to Darden.
Yeah, that big question of sort of why, the
Yeah.
reasons why you made the decisions that you've made, why you're interested in MBA, why this program, how does it fit into your career goals, and why are those your career goals? That why question should be very much on our applicants' mind as they prepare for their interview. I always encourage people to think about the application as kind of an initial introduction to who you are. It really gives us the what of your story,
Right.
but the interview is a place where we can really learn about what's motivated you along this journey, the reasons why you've made the decisions that you've made, and that sort of self-reflection, introspection that why question invites, I think is really critical to a successful interview. In your opinion, how does the interview fit into the overall application process?
Sure. Well, just as you said, the submitted application materials kind of give us that what. It gives us a lot of the kind of concrete data from your transcripts, your resume, your letter of recommendation, your essay. And so we're able to begin to get a sense of who you are. But then the interview, I believe, really brings all of that to life. And I really think that having that interaction for us to get a sense for not just what you've done, but your communication skills, your interpersonal dynamics, that can really come through in the interview. And then also, I've oftentimes said, it's when I see your eyes light up, like that's when I get a sense for what really gets you excited. What are some of your passions, your areas of interest? It oftentimes is a way for me to get a sense for why you really are interested in Darden and where you see alignment with, your goals and the clubs, the organizations, the electives that we have to offer. So I really feel like that live engagement is so meaningful. And as a part of the interview, or I should say after it, then as your interviewer, I would submit an evaluation. And then that gets added to your application and further reviewed by several members of the admissions committee before we render that final decision.
Yeah, one of the other watchwords for the application process generally is intentionality and being intentional about how you approach the application and thinking about the story that you're telling through the application. I think in the best overall sort of application, you think about application plus interview, someone is really thinking about how that interview can bring depth to their story and really deepen our understanding of who they are and who they will be in our Darden community. That's really what we're trying to assess. What's this person going to be like in the classroom, outside of the classroom? What are they going to contribute? What are they going to add to our community here? When people hear this interview approach, they hear conversational, they hear storytelling. How can someone prepare for this kind of interview?
Yeah, that's actually a great question because I'm hopeful that it will be this natural conversation, but that does take some practice. That does take some preparation. So, you know, definitely it is important that you know your story, that you're familiar with, some of those recent accomplishments at work, and that you feel comfortable kind of answering questions that may dive deeper into your professional experience and touching on, your academic work. So, being familiar, and sort of up to speed. But of course, you know yourself best, and we really hope that that comes through the interaction. But as we set up the interview, and generally we're going to give you a 5 to 10 minute to share your narrative. And so again, because I don't know anything, it is important that you share a level of detail, but then again, not go too deep. And so that's really, I think, where you can practice like, okay, what is it that I want to share? How long does that take? How do I not just sort of present it in this monologue, but how can, invite conversation and engage with the interviewer?
Yeah, you should totally expect your interviewer to have follow-up questions and
Yeah.
and to want to know more. I think in the best version of the interview, the follow-up question is not trying to like, oh, well, let's go back and let me understand exactly what happened here. It's really sort of we're able to follow the story that's been articulated and really kind of dig in even
Yeah.
more to it. That's how I always encourage folks to think about it. That's one way to kind of think about what makes a successful interview. In your opinion, what are some other hallmarks of a successful Darden interview?
Yeah, I think when, certainly when we are engaging in that dialogue where there's back and forth, when a candidate is asking me questions about Darden and really going beyond that surface level, but going deeper and wanting to understand more about my experience, or again, sort of those things about the Darden community that may not be something that you can find on the website. Um, I personally think a great interview is one where I'm learning. I have this opportunity, as do you and our team. We have this opportunity to talk to people from all over the world. And so I'm constantly learning about new companies, new industries, sort of where the trends are going, what's happening in the broader world, or, kind of hyper focused in a certain region. I get to learn about different cultures and all different communities, and so that is something that I just love. I think it helps me be better in my work. It helps me engage with our candidates on a deeper level. So um, I'd say a great interview is a conversation where we're both learning.
Yeah, I really appreciate all those points. That no two interviews are the same, and when I think back on the interviews that have really stood out to me, I think it's when someone really has a handle on their story. They're able to introspect and reflect as they're going along, right? So they're not just laying out these are the things I've done. They're actually bringing you into the decision-making process as they go, but doing it in a way that's mindful of the time constraints. And they've done their research. They know why they're excited about Darden and this particular program, and they've oftentimes connected it as something that's meaningful to them personally. Again, getting beyond sort of the website considerations that are thinking about what's motivating to them, what's exciting to them. So, Whitney, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's always a joy talking to you.
Thanks, Brett.